Did you see where Tim Allen is being accused of having flashed Pam
Yes,
Anderson?
I did see that.
I wanted to see how you felt about it.
The accusation is hilarious. Because I just imagine him on in just a tool belt, just going, with a robe, and it's a funny image.
Yeah.
It's not funny to be assaulting someone's eyes with your nakedness. You know what I'm saying? So if it actually happened the way she said, of him saying, "Oh, it's only fair because I've seen you naked," that's horrible. Don't do somebody like that.
Yeah, I think it's demeaning and out of a bad sense of humor in that regard. But was he like trying to sexually be like, "Ooh, I'm going to flash her because I'm a pervert"? I don't think it would be from that motive. I think it'd be because, I'm a comedian, I'm trying to be funny, and I'm dehumanizing her for being a porn star.
And yes, I agree with all of that if everything we know so far is true.
Yeah.
Has he made a statement on it?
He said he didn't never happen.
It never happened?
Yeah.
Well, then, innocent until proven guilty. Because I'm sick. I hate to say this. If you think I'm a misogynist because of it, then go ahead and think it right in the comments. I do not agree with the Me Too movement and always believe the woman. Always believe her.
Yeah.
Look at freaking Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. We found out through taped conversations and stuff that she was abusing him. So this could be literally designed. I mean, because Pamela Anderson don't have a whole lot going on in her career right now, and he's still got a show on daytime television or on primetime television.
Yeah.
So
he's a big target.
yeah. So and he's
conservative.
a conservative in Hollywood still, miraculously. Open conservative, made fun of Barack Obama and stuff on his show. So it would seem clear to me that she would have more, there could be incentive to try and do this and stir up a controversy about it. That never happened.
Yeah.
And I'm not willing to just take her word for it. It has nothing to do with her being a woman or a porn star or anything like that. It's just one human's word against another with no evidence. And I'm also not willing to assume that it was as horrible, even if it happened as horrible and awful as she's would say it is now, because we don't know the humor of the situation.
Yeah.
They may have been friendly on that show and been like, oh, and it may have been a gag, and now it's like, oh, I could take advantage of this situation. I don't realize now, 20 years later, how much it offended me.
Yeah. Well, I don't even think she said she was offended by it. She just told the situation that happened in her book, but she didn't like accuse him in a Me Too-y type way. She just like, look, he's disgusting. Look what he did. Like, not like he sexually.
Yeah. So, hey, probably promoting her book.
Yeah.
And probably and stuff like that. Maybe it was true. If it was true,
what I was gonna say. If I had to guess, I'd bet it did happen.
If it was true and it was okay, so here.
But I'm not taking it as fact.
If it was true and it was a skeezy power play because he's the biggest face on the show and it is his show and all this stuff, and he was like, "Look, I can do what I want. I've seen yours, Then yes, it's sleazy, it's demeaning, and he's a big booty hole, jerk of a guy, of a human. It makes me think less of him. Yeah, it makes me think less of him.
But it also happened like 25 years ago, and people change over time.
Well, and the standards of, not that streaking and flashing people is ever super
I
okay,
don't
unless you're on
know.
Girls Gone Wild. And
Well, I was going to say at football games, there's always a streaker. It's not usually because he's a sexual pervert. It's because attention and humor. Yeah.
You know what's weird about that? You know what? Women say and feminists say they want equality, but you don't see men gone wild and then just flare like that's super
women
offensive.
don't want to see that.
Right, but it's just weird to me. Like you want equality, but if a woman flashes out her boobs, let's say, it's fine. It's normal behavior, for a while, for a loose gal or whatever you want to call it. It's Mardi Gras. But if a dude flashes his junk,
because this is valuable, people want to see it.
I mean, what value's interpretive? Maybe he felt like his junk was precious.
Or go to a gay parade, then it's valuable there.
Listen, I agree with you. I don't want to see some dude's junk, and I would prefer women not just running around flashing their boobies. But it's just funny to me, the double standard of we want feminism, equality on all things, and we want the freedom to just flash our boobs whenever we want.
Well, they feel like men
okay.
are flashing their boobs whenever they want. That's what Free the Nipple is about. It's a whole movement about women should be able to be topless as much as men are. There's nothing special about these, which I disagree. I think there is something special about these. It defines us as a woman and that we feed our children and men like it. It's valuable.
You think he's a secret nudist?
No, I think he just had an outrageous sense of humor.
I wonder
and was putting her in her
wonder
place.
if it even happened. Maybe it did and he was still in boxers or underwear. Because that's the thing. I'm not willing to take, again, I'm not willing to. I have no idea whether it happened or not. So in my mind, the law is innocent until proven guilty. I'm like, if he's denying it and she says it did happen and nobody else is corroborating the story and stuff, it's like, bro, I don't just immediately believe you. You might have done it just to.
I wouldn't put it down as fact for sure.
Yeah,
I wouldn't tell someone as fact that it happened.
If it is fact and it happened precisely the way she did, it's a little disgusting to me, for sure. But it also, if no one's like, you know how I am, like. With emotional scars, if there's no physical damage being done, most of the time I'm like, come on, like get thicker skin. I think I think humans are getting a little wimpy. Let's be real. I think we are. I think as humans we're getting a little wimpy. And here's something. Okay, so
I kind of think that allows people to be crappy, though.
True, but what made me think about this is I've been taking, and maybe you knew this, maybe I told you about it. I've been taking cold showers for like the past 2 weeks.
No, you didn't tell
Okay,
me.
right. I've been taking cold showers for the past 2 weeks, and the reason I did it is for like health and weight loss and stuff because it's like thermodynamics. Your body burns calories to get your temperature back up, and that's why. And some athletes take ice baths like every at the end of every practice or whatever to like get their it's cardiovascular work, all this stuff. It's supposedly great for you. Yeah. So I've been taking cold showers for 2 weeks now.
I take hot showers to do the exact same thing and make it like it's a sauna.
Exactly. Okay, there you go. And sweat it out. But so I have stopped taking just a straight cold shower, and what I'll do is I'll turn it full blast heat, and I get in there while it's first started. You know how especially in winter, the water's freezing cold. It's super cold, and it's trying to heat up, and I'm sitting there like getting used to it and turning around on my back, and it's hitting all the like love handles, and it feels horrible. Yeah. But then I try to see when I can finally adjust to the breathe normal and kind of be my normal self. And then it starts heating up. And then I realize, whoa. And I can grab it and I pull it back. It's like, I don't need it any hotter than this because this feels comfortable.
Yeah.
So, and then I'll be in the comfortable part of my shower, scrubbing up. And I'm like, hey, baby, put your hand in here. And my wife comes in, Katie, I'm like, put your hand in and see the comfortable part of my shower. And she puts it in and she's like, you're disgusting. That's so cold. I don't want what
do you think that's probably at 60, 70 degrees?
Oh, yeah. It's not nice. Probably. But
I need 110.
Yeah, so the reason I say that is because thinking about people getting wimpy and that they can't handle as much stuff, like that was sort of an allegory or whatever you want to call it in my head, thinking about like you force yourself into a situation. It's awful. It sucks. And it's like, but then you get to where my comfortable is my wife's unbearable. And it made me think,
yeah, but you can't force people to take cold showers because it's good for them.
No, right. But what I'm saying is that it was a good allegory for the people that don't ever have to face adversity at all and don't want to and feel like every time they're stuck with an uncomfortable situation, they can go crying on Facebook or everything or whatever, and just all the warriors come take their defense and these other people and they're screwed. And it's like coddling these people when in reality we're capable of so much more if we're willing to push ourselves. Like now, I'll probably just, if it's a winter day, not a winter day, but in the middle of the summer, you know, when my kids are like dipping their toe in the pool and it's like, oh, it's not 90, I'm not going in, I'll probably cannonball in and not care.
Well, but see, that's good for you, but that doesn't mean it has to be comfortable for your child.
No, sure.
Yeah, but that's kind of what you're saying on an emotional level.
No, I'm saying that people, because they don't challenge themselves with anything regularly, get where they cannot handle anything. My wife cannot handle the cold shower. She'll freak out.
Yeah, but someone who can't handle a cold shower might be able to do something you can't do in a different area.
Sure.
Which is why it was equalize it all out.
Sure. Well, it was just why it was like a little example, a little parable, let's say, of for life. It's like, I feel like you need to be challenging yourself regularly with things in ways that kind of make you uncomfortable. It's like, I had a conversation. I remember we were out bowling once, and we had a conversation with a friend, and I disagreed with them on the opinion, and they said, I think blah, 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 and turned their head and literally just ignored everything I said from that point on and could not handle the rest of the conversation. And I literally, in my head, was like, okay, you're so uncomfortable and so incapable of handling countering viewpoints that you just turned into a child, turned your head, and ignored the viewpoint. And it's like, it's because you've never, you clearly haven't had to grapple with those types of things.
Or they don't like to argue about things, something like that.
Or they're not adept with debating, so every debate turns into an argument. You can debate it without arguing. We just spent an hour talking about Steven Crowder and Daily Wire and had differing views. It's fine.
Yeah, but I can do that with you, and I couldn't do it with a stranger.
And my argument to that would be, I bet you could just you struggle with it now, and that's so like because I would have said a year ago, I cannot take cold showers. Forget about it. I can maybe if it's all you have is cold water, I'm going to take me one of those.
Well, we don't
sink
have
baths.
to put ourselves in concentration camps.
No, sure. I'm not wanting people to starve themselves and just waste away to nothing. What?
I feel like it's good to say this is good and I'm doing it, but when you're like you're a weak person because you're not doing it, which is kind of feels like what you're putting out there.
Well, I was just seeing in this situation, it's like she got flashed, maybe, and everybody jumps to believe her, and everybody talks about how disgusting this other person is, and I'm like, if you say 20 years later you're emotionally scarred by seeing a wiener, like, come on.
I guess it just depends on motive. If I felt like he was being a flasher and doing it in a perverted sexual way, I would 100% be like, this is awful.
Yeah, well, it's gross. It's gross.
And the other way, I still don't like it, but it's not like...
And that's what I'm saying, like, is the coddling. Because me, if something like that were to happen, even if a dude did it, and I... say a homosexual male did that to me, flashed their junk to me, I'd be like, dude... I don't want to see that. Move on.
Yeah, but the context makes it different. Like, if you're hanging out with a bunch of friends and you know someone's drunk and they flashed, that would be one thing.
Which is why I stated the context. I said, like, a homosexual male is attracted to me, flashes me as junk. I'd be like, dude.
But that's a whole different thing.
I'd be like, dude, this gross, put that away. Like, and I would handle it.
Yeah, but also coming from a different perspective with a girl, like sometimes women get approached in a park. There's a girl on YouTube who just the other day got approached at a park by a flasher while she was playing with her kid at the park. That's a whole different level. She can't just look at him and like laugh it off.
Sure. Well, and her kid's there. That's another, it's a total different level.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, if a guy did that with my kid there, I would get up, punch him square right in the face.
Yeah. It's a different thing.
Totally different thing versus you're at a workplace. If I was at a workplace with a homosexual male,
context matters,
and he flashed his junk to me, I'd be like, dude. For instance, I was in a workplace and I worked backstock at the Buckle, and there was a homosexual guy coming in to take or there's this gay man. He doesn't mind me saying he's gay. He's gay. His name's Jeremy, and he came in and we were back there talking and about stuff. And I'm a Christian, and he came in with all kinds of stories. He was talking all kinds of stuff about spicy, intimate times with men that he had had. Mm-hmm. And finally, one day, he says, Cliff, he goes, man, you just don't know it yet, but one day you and I are just going to F. Now, should I now make a big stink about it and say how emotionally scarred I was that this gay man came at me and made these provocative moves or whatever? Or should I just say, and what I did was I was like, man, I'm a Christian. Probably not going to, that's not going to happen. And moved on. And I like Jeremy. He's a good dude.
That's not good dude behavior, though, if a man does that to a woman. So why should a man do it to a man?
I'm not saying that was good behavior in that moment.
Yeah.
I'm not going to judge my friends by their worst moment. Ever. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to judge them by their worst moment ever.
That's not his... If someone says that to someone, that's not their worst moment ever. That's their normal behavior.
Well, and I could make such a controversy now by talking about how I was sexually harassed at work by a man, blah, blah, instead of being like, when I said...
I think that'd be a fair point.
But I'm like, I don't... The thing is, that's why I feel like thick skin matters. I was like, dude, I'm a Christian. It's not going to happen. And then he stops and he goes, oh my gosh, all those things I said and all this. And he started flashing through his head. I could ignore that whole part of the conversation and say, this guy approached me and said these things to me at work, and it was horribly offensive. I was mortified or whatever. And I could be like, or I could just grow up and be like, that happened. People are people. People make mistakes. We move on. And the action, it matters, and the context matters. If the action is just something, what I think is kind of dismissive, like what that guy said to me, coming on to me at work, move on. I'm not going to file a sexual harassment suit, something like, it's like, whatever, move on. Versus actual groping and all this kind of, like, come on. Like, that's, or continued abuse of making remarks and sexual innuendos.
It's hard for me to even speak on it because it's a male-woman perspective thing. Like, a male doing it to a male, I don't think it should be good either. But I can understand you not being threatened. Whereas I was somewhere a few months ago and a man walked up to me and handed me a dildo. That's was very offensive to me and suggestive and disgusting.
An intimate toy.
Yes.
I don't know if we can say that. DILDO word. Okay.
Yeah, but I felt unsafe. Like, is that a pervert, or is they going to follow you in the parking lot?
Bigger than
Does
me.
he think he's being
This
funny?
guy was bigger than me at that time. He was bigger than me. I mean, if he wanted me, baby.
But from a male-female thing, it's
But
hard
that's
to
what I'm
know.
saying. Like, that's...
Like, I'm immediately like,
I feel
safety.
But see, I feel like in today's standard, if
You
a
can
guy
cut that
came
out.
in making a bunch of sexual remarks and I was a woman, talking about all these things they had done, and then looked at me and said, Cliftina, or whatever your name is, you don't know it, but one of these days we're just going to F. And said that repeatedly.
Why didn't you stop him before it got to that?
I rolled my eyes and moved on.
Yeah.
I didn't stop him because I don't care. I feel, and maybe this is the man and woman different thing.
Yeah.
I feel confident in my space that if I ever got threatened, I would be like, whoa. And I have no desire to take advantage of the situation. That's the problem I have. In my head, sometimes I feel like women are just trying to take advantage of the situation, looking for an opportunity. He said a sexual remark. Maybe I can make a big deal out of it.
Well,
And I'm like, I don't have that in me. That's not a desire in me.
I think maybe where women know that they can have sex whenever they want it.
They're not struggling for intimacy.
Yeah, and that they can have it if they want it, and it will also be forcibly taken from them sometimes. So it's a whole different conversation than with men who's trying to get it.
It kind of taps some nails in the equality coffin if we can't treat sexual harassment on the workplace the same for both sexes.
Well, then I would say you was sexually harassed.
And I'm like, and I'd be like, gosh, if I thought that I would go home mortified about that, I would look at me like, Cliff, grow a pair. You know, no offense, like, get up, grow up.
But if someone said that to your wife at work, I mean, that would be like, that's not cool.
If you like this clip from the Not Gospel Studios YouTube channel, don't forget to share. Click on one of the other links and videos. You can find them here, and subscribe. I think it's down here. Tell your friends about us. Tell them that it's healthy, that it's vegan, and all of those things. Keep being awesome, because that's how God made you.